Hello everyone, thanks for joining me here in a condo. I want to show you a new floor that we installed, and just to prove that it's really good floor, I have my little friend here, Baxter. My guys come with me to endorse our wonderful floor. I want to talk to you a little bit about color of flooring, what makes a good color, what doesn't, what we actually have in here. This is Northern Wide Plank. This is manufactured in Ontario. It is a very, very nice engineered white oak hardwood, and it's about a 6-inch wide board. The color is called Shore. So it's not too light and it's not too dark. Now what's interesting is I would call it the color of lightly toasted white bread is basically the color, and yet when I selected the color, I thought it would be darker, and it's not. So that's a very interesting thing to think about when you are picking color. Here we are in a condo that faces west, and it gets really nice sunshine in the afternoon. The accents in here are blacks with a little bit of brown, a little bit of gray, you can see here, and creams, ivories. So really nice combination of color. It's a transitional style. So a mix of antiques as well as a little bit more mid-century modern. So it gives it a really nice feel. People often ask me, what's the right color of floor? Is it okay to keep the color I have? Can I mix in woods? So very quickly, yes, you can mix lots of different wood colors together. The key thing is finding something to balance those wood colors. So the best way to balance it is white and black, because those create baselines that allow you to have all those colors in the middle, which is what wood is, one of those mid-tone colors. So in here, the color Shore, as I said, is very similar to the color of toasted white bread, basically. So when you're picking your colors, make sure you think about how it's going to make you feel in the space. Don't worry about how well it goes with everything else. We will deal with that after, once we get that color selected, because it's a long-term commitment you are making to your floor color. One thing I'll note, this in here originally actually had walnut flooring, which is definitely mid-tone to a little bit darker. So not the color of cherry, but about the brightness, depth of color of cherry flooring, if you know what that looks like. And what I can say is just simply changing out from that dark flooring to the lighter flooring makes a huge difference in terms of brightness in here. It's much brighter. So if you're looking to brighten your space but not increase the amount of lighting or electrical that you have in the house, change your floor. That in itself will make a massive difference. So this is what I would call this color Shore a mid-tone. It's really not too dark, not too light. And that, I think, for a lot of people is a challenge when they're going to pick a light color. They naturally think of picking a color that's super light, but in the end, it doesn't turn out the way you expect it to look. So if you're picking a light floor, maybe go a little tiny bit darker than you think. So this is engineered, which means it has a backing on it, so it won't expand and contract, and that's why it's okay in a condo. If you're going to install it though, make sure you check with your condo board. Don't do anything without a sign off from them. It's very, very important with hardwood. What I want you to notice here is there are knots in the floor. You can see them. And the other thing, when you get close, not all the boards are the same color. They are in the same consistency of Shore, but because it's natural wood, you will get a lot of variegation or variation within the boards. So when you're picking your hardwood, make sure you get more than one piece. Ask for a group of pieces, a board of it. If you're really unsure, purchase a box. That way you can lay out, usually it's about 6 square feet of it, so you can have a look at it and see if you like it. That way I know for sure when you're getting your color, it's the right color. Now I do have a dog with me, and he is to prove that the texture on this surface is actually really durable. So with Shore, it's got a lot of wire brushing or texture added to the surface. So for me, and for anyone who has pets or is hard on their floor, this type of texture is much better. It's much more hard wearing and can handle pets and basically shoes on the surface. If you have a glossy floor, that's the hardest part. That gloss doesn't do as well with hardware or marking because it shows up in the gloss. It doesn't damage the wood, it just damages the gloss. So a matte finish with texturing really does give me a better finish overall. And for my clients, because they're able to really handle not being so fussy with their space, does really, really well with it. So I just want to show this to you. There are two types of grains. There's flat cut in oak and there is what we call rift and quartered, or sometimes you'll see mission style. So I'll just show you here. This grain is very typical in oak. Can you see why it's called cathedral grain? It's got kind of a point to it. So, or flat cut, it's sometimes called. Rift and quartered is more like this, where the grain is straight and there are very few knots in rift and quartered. Rift and quartered is a beautiful finish. You just pay more for it, generally speaking, because they're cutting the wood differently. So there is a little bit more waste, and it's a very specific look. I kind of like the knots, so you have to ask that question when it's time to buy more hardwood as well. The other thing is the direction of the hardwood. Sometimes people ask, which way, if I'm installing new hardwood, should I run it? In this case, we ran it from basically east to west. So it's the direction of walking into the space. But because the space is equally as long this way, it could have also been run in this direction. But there would have been more waste. So when you're trying to decide, you're deciding where you can use the most amount of length of boards so that you're able to get the best look. And because this comes in 10-foot lengths, it's incredible. The length of these boards, we don't want to cut that. We want to take advantage of it. So when you're purchasing your hardwood, make sure you ask, what is the shortest board and what is the longest board? That way you know you get the best look, and you'll be able to figure out the best way to install it, to use the material to its best ability, basically is what it comes down to. I just love the look here. I feel that it's nice, bright, and super solid. So when I walk on this, it feels really good. Because we did one other thing in a condo specifically, but you could do this in your house too, is we put down an underpad, call it that. It's called rhino board. So, or rhino, it's often referred to. So it's basically a sound absorbing material that goes under the floor so you don't bother anyone below you. And I'll tell you, it makes the room so quiet. So you don't get all that clicking that you sometimes hear with hardwood that's not installed perfectly in a condo. So in here, it makes a huge difference. So I highly recommend you talk to your contractor when it's time to install to make sure that you get the right material underneath your floor. Anyway, absolutely beautiful. Love this product. Again, this is called Northern Wide Plank. The color that you're seeing here is called shore, like beach shore, basically. So it's really nice, and it really does remind me of being on the shore. And of course, the view is beautiful as well, which, well, okay, not the snow, but generally it takes me away in my head to think about the beauty of what shore would be like when it comes to summertime.